chair of ISO Technical Committee 307, Blockchain and Distributed Ledger Technologies. And I'd first like to say welcome. Welcome to LACNet as a Liaison A organisation. It's absolutely superb to have you here. And now I'm going to hand over to my intrepid interviewer, Ismael, who is going to make this a fascinating conversation for the next 15 to 20 minutes. So it's all up to you, Ismael. You get to ask the questions, and all I have to do is provide the answers. Over to you, mate.
Super. Good morning. Good morning, Scott. Really a pleasure to be with you. Well, what a huge challenge. Just 1 year on top of the chair of the TC307. Let's talk about which is the ISO TC307 committee's work, which is the goal. Let us know.
Sure. Well, one of the most important things to know about the TC307, it's a pretty big committee. So there's more than 40 countries as participating members. There's more than 20 other countries as observing members, and there's quite a few important liaison organisations just like LACNet. And it's one of the most astonishing things about the committee is everyone's not the same. Everyone's not the same background. It's not all software engineers and computer scientists. It's not all lawyers like Ismael and myself. Everyone has a different background. And that produces a wonderful environment for real meaningful discussion and thought. And that's reflected in the breadth of the work being done. It's not just in smart contracts, which Ismael leads the work of the committee in relation to that. It's also in important issues like interoperability, use cases, representing physical assets on a blockchain, even the fundamental building blocks like taxonomy to make sure that all the different knowledge disciplines which are involved can actually mean the same thing when they use the same words. And so there is an incredible breadth of work being covered, and it's never stable. It keeps moving on. It keeps progressing. So nearly every plenary meeting, and we have 2 of those a year, there are new work items added, which are not driven by people like me and Ismael. They're driven by the membership and the people that those members serve. So it's designed to make sure that the standards meet the needs of the overall community, and that's the way it keeps growing. Of course, we do finish the work we started. We don't just start new jobs and forget the old ones, but we keep moving forward. And so over the last 7 years, a range of work has been completed. And I have to say that some of the work that we've just started now, we wouldn't have even thought of 7 years ago when the committee first started.
Thank you. Thank you for this very great spectrum that we have in the committee. Any project in the committee, in the different working groups, pursue different sustainable development goals. And the committee itself pursue a particular number of sustainable development goals. Could you let us know what are these circumstances that we have in the committee?
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. It's very important to so many of the members of the committee and to ISO itself. So yes, we already have right now a working item in relation to the use of smart contracts contributing to sustainable development goals, but the involvement is far deeper. And indeed, in the last plenary session in Sydney, we had an entire session in relation to calibrating our work on sustainability going forward. I'm sure a number of people listening to this are better experts than me in relation to blockchain and sustainability, but there's 2 different aspects to this at least. The first aspect is the actual sustainability issues around the technology itself to make sure that it is achieving sustainability goals. The second is how the use of the technology itself can achieve broader sustainability goals. For example, we've recently had a discussion as to how it could be used in projects related to recycling or the tracking of energy usage itself. So like many technologies, it has 2 aspects to sustainability: its own impact and how it affects the Earth itself, but then also how it helps the Earth, how it helps our sustainability. We are tracking both tracks. We are in the process of the creation of a new group within our committee in order to coordinate and educate us as we go forward, but we've already started. So again, like many work in technology, this is not at all solved, but we're working different angles to make sure we can be part of the solution in TC 307.
Well, very accurate and precision how we work on pursuing these sustainability development goals. Let me go a little bit, let's say, profound in the conceptual point of view of non-experts and our the community could understand the difference between de facto and the jure organizations. Both are voluntary. As a lawyer, you can give us the relevance of the jure efforts.
Yeah, so you were right to use the word profound and conceptual, and the audience will have to forgive me here if I wander off into something a little bit philosophical
Please,
in relation to this.
absolutely.
But this is something where I believe after 30 years of practicing in the law that many different knowledge disciplines have misunderstood the fundamental role of standards. And indeed, Ismael's original profession and mine have completely misunderstood that the law is just a standard. And the function of standards in our society is to set a level playing field, not necessarily to control people, but actually to enable businesses to provide better outcomes for people by providing a common platform for competition and a common platform for safety. And what I think the most fundamental benefit of organizations like ISO is to bring the different knowledge disciplines, so the engineers that actually build things and make things, and the lawyers who create, for example, who create the rules around things, so we have a common goal and a common language. And I think the ISO committees are nearly at the base level of that. It's like the core Rosetta Stone, where you've got people from such different backgrounds who need to work together to enable our economies and our societies to move forward on these sorts of things. I certainly encourage anyone who is not from a core engineering background and feels uncomfortable with participating in a committee like this to participate. I have to say we have some of the best scientists and engineers in the world in the area, and they are so good that they can talk in the language that others can understand, and that's fundamental. So sorry for getting a bit philosophical there, Ismael, but I really believe that this work is fundamentally important, and that's why I volunteered to do it, because I think it's important for the next generation of people that follow us, that they understand how important standards are, especially cross-border standards, to improving our world.
Natural law, in other words, natural law.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Great. Okay. Finally, before we conclude this interview, which is the best advice you could give us? We are slowly with LACNet members entering in different working groups to contribute different kind of projects. Which is the best recommendation you could give us in terms of a liaison? How we could embrace or enhance or improve our contribution?
Okay, well, this answer is going to come from my culture, Australian culture. So you'll just have to translate it as best you can. The phrase I would use to get the most out of this is give it a go. Lean into it, contribute. Don't be afraid of providing your ideas. Don't hang back. Don't be afraid of doing things and thinking that, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to do anything at all. Do everything you want. Contribute your knowledge. And that would be a very Australian way of doing things, saying, well, something needs to be done. I've got an idea. I think it's pretty good. I'm going to add it in there. So please don't think that you have to have permission to speak. I mean, we do have sort of processes making sure everyone doesn't talk over the top of each other, but don't hang back thinking that, oh, I've got to wait because I'm only new to this committee. You're on, contribute, go for it. We need your help. Give it to us. And it's certainly, as you can probably see from the way that Ismael and I are talking, it's not that formal, right? So we really want meaningful conversations and contributions. And me as chair, I do have to follow some rules, but also I'm not a over stickler for rules. I like outcomes more than artificial rules. The rules are important to make sure everyone gets a go, but that means that LACNet gets a go too. So step into it, guys. We want to hear from you, and follow Ismael's example. He's never quiet. I mean, do what he does.
Well, I really appreciate. Thank you, Scott. We are on time. I don't have really nothing else to meet you again in the next plenary where LACNet will be with you in Brussels, and let's keep on going and let's follow and head your good advice and share. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Ismael. Thank you, everyone else too.